Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Remember to hit that subscribe button because today I am hitting you with some ancient history by talking about Evil Dead Rise. So let's get into it. To be honest with you, I saw this one pretty late because I wasn't exactly hyped about its release. I thought for sure it would be another one of those legacy sequels that just can't manage to capture what the originals did. You combine that with the fact that the only other Evil Dead movie that I've seen is the first one, which I didn't really like too much, you naturally go, yeah, I'm not too keen to see this film. Now, with all of that being said, I don't mind this film actually. I like this a lot more than the very first Evil Dead, and it has me interested again in checking out the other films in this series. The movie is intense, and it was a very fun thrill ride. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I do like this. And the first thing about this that makes it special is its ability to make you cringe and make you feel a lot of tension. Now, I have not seen every single Evil Dead movie, but this one in particular is one of the most goriest and violent movies that I have ever seen. I have a pretty high bar as well for how much violence I can take in a film. I love the horror genre, and I love Quentin Tarantino movies, okay? I think violence, when used properly in films, is something that is awesome to see. Evil Dead Rise at times made me feel sick, it made me cringe a lot, and some of those scenes I will never forget because yes, they are that violent. For example, spoilers for the beginning of the movie, but in the opening scene, someone grabs the top of someone's head and rips their scalp off. There is no cutting away, you see it, and the scene just had me touching the top of my head like, damn, I felt that. There are quite a few scenes like that, and I would argue that it goes a little too far at times, but fans of this franchise will probably say, that is what Evil Dead is. Why are you seeing an Evil Dead movie if that's not what you're seeing it for? I think that is a major question I want to ask you. If you are a fan of this franchise or not, do you think the film is too graphic? I think for the genre and style of film, probably not, but I think if you are a fan of violent movies, even this might be a little much. Like, I think even the first Evil Dead and a lot of horror movies that utilize violence, it feels more stylistic. So I think for many people, it is a lot easier to stomach, but this plays it more straight. Now, you could argue there is some style there because you just can't go ripping someone's scalp off. That is obviously not real, but there's no moment where it felt stylized. It feels like it wanted to delve into a lot more realism with that violence, and that is why it can draw such a reaction out of you. Anyway, going into the rest of the movie, I think the performances vary. The one that I really liked was, of course, Alyssa Sutherland, who gives a very physical and dynamic performance that I really enjoyed seeing. The rest of the cast mostly gave average to poor performances, I think, that are pretty much seen in every single standard horror film. That is maybe the largest problem that I have for this film. The writing and performances for some of these characters is very weak at points. I'm a little disappointed in this film in particular for doing that because this film does present a lot of really good horror, but these are some of the dumbest characters I have seen in a while. No one in their right mind will do some of the things that these characters would do to purposely put themselves in danger, and I cannot excuse it, and nothing will convince me that these decisions were pure stupidity. Another thing that was a big letdown at times was Lee Cronin's direction. He made The Hole in the Ground before, which was a very interesting film to me, and I probably like Evil Dead Rise as much as that film. But in this, it looks like he doesn't have as much confidence in his direction. I say this because he uses a lot of manipulative music to draw a jump scare out of you. Sometimes it shows something that clearly isn't frightening at all, but you have a reaction because of the sharp increase in the music's volume. I didn't like that decision, and I don't like it in any movie. Some of the greatest horror movies of all time really don't use that often because the director trusts in their abilities to genuinely terrify you. I think silence is more effective than blaring music, and this just didn't want to do that. Now, I say that because it's a bit of a shame because so many of these scenes are genuinely scary, and when Cronin decides to trust in his abilities, he kills it. There's so many phenomenal scenes in this and some excellent horror that I have never seen before. and it really bumped it up and made this film a good movie in my eyes. I think the film is fun as hell, and it does a great job of paying homage to some really excellent horror films that came before it. I could be mistaken, but there were two scenes in this that felt very reminiscent of The Shining and Hereditary, which I thought was a nice little touch. This also fits right at home in this franchise. From the minute it starts, it feels like an Evil Dead movie with the camera work. It hasn't forgotten where it came from, and it feels like a really solid follow-up to what came before. I think this is a solid movie that's well worth recommending depending on your tolerance for violence. If you cannot stomach violence in a movie, do not go see this. This is the worst version of that you will ever see. The story is solid, but the actual horror and the amazing performance from Alyssa Sutherland make this a movie worth watching. Overall, I will give Evil Dead Rise a 3.5 out of 5. Was it perfect? No. But do I think it was an overall well-made movie? Yes, absolutely. And I cannot wait to see what Lee Cronin might do next. I think he is quite a promising filmmaker, and I just hope he can put more trust in his abilities to make a really good horror scene. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts towards Evil Dead Rise. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I cannot wait to have a discussion with you regarding what the film does and how you think the violence is compared to the other movies and what people's tolerance to it is. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.